Hello and welcome back to Not Delete, the show review both new and older movies. This is Gino.
This is Roberto.
Ricardo.
America.
And Gio.
How you guys been doing? I will start real quick with what I've been watching. I've been watching The Karate Kid. And of course, the first one's a classic. It's the best one of all time. And the reason I started watching is because of Cobra Kai. Because people were talking about how that's a perspective of the bad guy in the first movie.
Is it a cool show though?
Cobra Kai is pretty good. I haven't finished the second season. The first season I did. I was like, okay, cool. And you can tell it's low budget, so it's like, you know, what can you expect? Apparently it's created by the people who did Harold and Kumar, so it's like it has some funny moments. Have some like you think, oh, this is gonna be serious, but then it gets funny, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I guess we're going with that momentum. But you know, what about you, America? What have you been watching?
I don't think I watched anything. No, I haven't really been home. I don't know.
Pass
Next.
on.
Ricardo, what have you been watching?
I just more Bong movies. They're on Hulu, right? I mean Hulu on Netflix.
Bong movies?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon.
Oh, okay.
I tell them all already. And I've been watching a lot of basketball, but that's it. Not really, nothing. What about you, Robert?
The highlight of the week was I watched for the first time Bram Stoker's Dracula. Ooh. Gino, I know you love that movie. It's a movie by if you don't know, it's by Francis Ford Coppola, and it's really cool because it's like a classic film. Like there's all the visual effects are like done in camera, like every single one. There was no like computer effect in it. And all that attention to detail is really cool. But what bugs me is that they cast 2 American actors in British roles. One of them is Winona Ryder, and the other one is Keanu Reeves. And I know we all love Keanu Reeves now, but man, watching that movie, it's like you can't get into it, man.
Yeah, that's what I like about that.
What was he thinking? Yeah.
But so no, you're not.
I mean, I appreciate it, but it's just like, oh, what? Why is he talking like that? It's like a surfer British guy or something. Gino, you could do the voice. You do.
Hell yeah. Like, Count Dracula. This is my wife, Vivian.
Yeah, so I mean, cool movie visually, but it's just like, what were you thinking, Francis? Gio, what have you been watching?
Yesterday, I did a bit of original trilogy marathon of Star Wars. It was on TV, so I caught like the last battle scene of New Hope, watched all of Empire, and the beginning of Jedi. So up to when Leia in disguise went to Jabba's palace to try to negotiate with Jabba.
Of course, you're gonna see that scene, huh? You're like, oh.
No, that's as far as I got because I had to leave.
That was his favorite scene as a kid. Like the VHS was all worn out in that part.
No, wait, you guys are talking about the slave Leia? No, this was before she
talking
became
about slave Leia.
Yeah, because it was all worn out. You couldn't watch it.
Jake, my boyfriend.
It's snowing.
Winter is coming in.
We have a real connection, a rare and intense attachment. I've never experienced anything like it. I'm thinking of ending things.
Huh?
What?
Did you say something?
I don't think so.
Weird.
Robert, what did we watch this week?
This week, our new movie comes from Netflix. It's called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It's written for the screen and directed by Charlie Kaufman, and it stars Jesse Plemons and Jessie Buckley as a young woman. So the movie's about the young woman is on a trip with her boyfriend to visit the boyfriend's parents. Right. And once they get there, strange things start to occur. And there's not really much to the plot, I think. I think that's really what it's about. But the movie, it really has a way of getting under your skin. So I think, Ricardo, you said you were a big Charlie Kaufman fan, right? So let's start with you. What did you think of this movie?
Yeah, like you said, like I was watching this shit. I do love Charlie Kaufman though. You guys, you know? And so I watch all his movies and everything. And damn, this shit, it's funny because I'm watching it and I'll keep stopping it to America and being like, dude, like this fucking guy, like, I'm just talking about him because I love dialogue. And this guy is like poetry or something, right? Like the whole fucking movie is just dialogue, and it didn't bother me. And then when you get to the house, it starts getting pretty cool, like the acting, the mom, I forgot her name, the actress.
Tony
The mom
Collette.
of Hereditary?
Yeah.
She's fucking good,
Yeah.
Like I really think she's cool. But then the movie kept going and going and going, and I was like, hey, I think it's time to end this shit, Like, hey, I'm thinking of ending this shit already, So like I started zoning out and I stopped caring, and you know what? I'm an out.
What?
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. What do you think, America?
Actually, I'm kind of on the opposite side of this guy. I don't really watch this guy's movies because they frustrate me. They're just always so sad and like, life sucks. I think they're good, but they just frustrate me too much. And then with this one, I loved the trailer, so I was really excited for it. But then I saw the time, I was like, ooh, 2 something, or like just like 2 hours, and I was like, I don't know. But I actually really liked it. I'm in, although I didn't completely understand it, and I hope that one of you guys can explain it all to me because I'm like, what? But still, like, I'm in. Like, it was, I don't know, I thought it was super cool. Gio, what did you think?
So I was on the same boat as you. Like that trailer, like I watched it, I was just like, oh, okay, this seems kind of interesting. Like I haven't seen too many of was it Charlie Kaufman's movies. I think I've seen like Eternal Sunshine, and like I know his movies tend to be more of like a mental movies. He tends to play a lot with that, like of the thing of like what's kind of real and what's fake. And because of that, I also had a problem understanding the movie, like what's going on, because a lot of things happen throughout the whole thing, and you don't know. There's a lot of play with time in this movie, so you don't know what's real, what's not. Because I didn't fully understand it completely, because it seems like it's a very deep movie. I'm just gonna give it an out. Like it's one that you have to watch it multiple times because there's, I think, a lot that happens. I think I'm giving it an out because it's a very deep movie that's not enough for me to actually give it something. I think at first watch, it's one that I think you have to definitely watch it a couple of times to kind of get. What about you, Robert?
I mean, I do like Charlie Kaufman movies because like they're always, like you said, they're very like cerebral. It's kind of like Inception. You're gonna go into a fucking brain.
Yeah.
So I was kind of prepared for that, but I wasn't prepared for like as much as it did. Like this is a very, I liken it to The Shining. It's very like, it's very moody and it's very like slow and just kind of like, it takes its time and it kind of gets under your skin. I didn't realize that this is kind of like a backdoor horror movie. It's like it pretty much is. So I really, really like those elements, even when it seemed kind of slow. So I'm gonna go ahead and be in, even though I'm on the same boat. I have no idea what was going on, and I cheated. I'll get into it later. I cheated and I went online and read about it. But after that, like it made me go like, oh, okay, I think this movie will reward you if you view it multiple times and see all the layers, like Shrek says, all the onions layers that you have to peel away. So I'm in for that reason. I really like the experience. Gino, what did you think?
Well, I wish I had the same experience on your side. I mean, I did bust a Ricardo, and from our previous episodes, I feel like this was a checkout movie for me. I checked out almost in the entire movie. I had to go back and rewind it to make sure that I messed up by checking out, and I made sure I didn't mess up by checking out until towards the end. That's when it snapped me back in. And when I feel like it was a little low key horror movie in a way too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into it. What I think, I feel like we should all talk about what we think, what we saw, because I have an opinion of what I think I saw, of who we're seeing in this point of view of this mental state, I should say. That being said, I'm gonna give it an out. Almost whatever. I'm just gonna give it an out just because I want to go back again and check out some scenes. It's not. I wouldn't recommend it, but I just personally would just go watch it myself.
Yeah, I can't wait to rewatch this movie. Like, I haven't looked it up yet, and I hope that what you tell me, like, encourages me to watch it more. Cause like I need to know what the fuck happened. You know,
Yeah.
from all the time stuff that happens to the end when they start dancing. Like what?
I think like the movie is like it's full of dialogue, like you said, like there's 20-minute extended scenes of nothing but them talking in a car, but it's not like expository dialogue. It's just them like setting a mood, you know, and you know, and setting. So the movie's really about feelings, you know, like what you feel. And I really like those type of movies. And when they get to like the parents' house, it kind of turns into like a midsummer-ish type movie, you know, like where so many strange things are happening and you feel scared, like because you're in the point of view of the girl, right, the young girl, and like all these things are happening and you're like, okay, you need to get out of that situation. And it's funny because it's like a relationship drama, but it's like it plays out like a horror movie. So
Exactly.
I mean, since I cheated, I can't say what I interpreted about the movie, but if anybody else has their thoughts, I mean, feel free to share them.
Because if I had to guess, I was thinking that he is like, well, I thought that he's trapping them, right?
Yeah.
Into this like his little world.
Sort of like a Palm Springsy type thing where he
like,
takes you, right?
Yeah, and then like that's why they started getting older and like.
So you think you think Breaking Bad guy is trapping?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
okay.
Yes, and there's like his little world that he has, you know, because it's all his stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then like the people he knows and the people he sees, it's all him.
I kind of feel the same way. I feel like he might somehow be in control of time. And so he is bringing people and trapping them for whatever reason.
Because they're old at the end,
yeah, because they go from young to old or whatever. And he has pictures of people when they were younger and people kind of transform into other people. But I also don't know if, because I feel like he was stealing her ideas. He was kind of becoming her, right? So I don't know if did he give her those characteristics, those things that she did, or was he stealing them from her? Is that why he took her there in order to become himself?
Maybe he is like those people are made up, and that's how in his mind.
Like it's in his head.
That's why he's alone and he's singing in the song.
Yeah, they're like all pieces of his brain or whatever. Like he has little compartments, because like even that like the basement doors, like his repressed memories in there, something like that.
I thought the janitor was a serial killer who had like some sort of multiple identities in his head from trauma he had from childhood, and basically the young woman is basically another personality within his mind who doesn't understand what's going on in that world. That's why she's constantly freaking out saying I want to leave, but it's like you can't leave.
Like
But,
like that movie Identity, right?
Yes.
So is this janitor serial killer guy? Did he make her up? Is she real? Is she physically traveling to that high school? And if so, is he the Jesse guy?
So do you want me to reveal what's
Yes,
so
please.
It's funny because like you guys are all right. Like, so this movie is based on a book, right? And I read that the book like plays out a lot more like a thriller, like a straightforward horror thriller. But essentially, you guys are all right in saying that the janitor guy is a writer and he's making up this story. So all the people in it are his creations. That's why the girl always has the name, right? That's why he always has the thoughts, because he's writing that story. And he's writing it right before he's going to commit suicide. So I'm thinking of Ending Things is his his like yeah. And you guys are right in assuming that Breaking Bad guy is the janitor when he was old. And the whole interpretation dance at the end, that's him. I think they did meet in reality. Like the girl says, they met and he was like trying to get her attention. And the dance is what he pictures life would have been like if he had gone up to talk to her. Because in reality, he never did. Yeah.
Okay.
So like that made me appreciate the movie and want to watch it again and want to read the book, because there's so much that once you know, it's like, oh, okay, now I understand.
It actually made.
But I cheated. Yeah, I cheated. Yes. But I did enjoy the movie because of the feeling. But I had to go out and read. Yeah.
honestly, it was so scary.
Yeah, it was.
Like I was just fucking waiting for something to pop up.
Yeah, it was
like
funny.
it was just like it was horrible. I mean, the aspect ratio didn't help because you feel so like stuck.
Yeah.
You feel like something's just gonna
Claustrophobic,
sneak
yeah.
on you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
because it was funny because I was like into it, right? And I look at her and she's like, "Oh, it's gonna happen now! It's gonna happen now! Like, something's gonna happen!" It's hilarious.
It's so funny how it plays like you would like. I didn't watch the trailer for this, but I seen Charlie Kaufman movies and like, you know, like oh they're like America says like emo movies, you know, like oh my girlfriend dumped me or whatever. So I wasn't expecting like a fucking horror movie like that just gets under your skin. Like I said, like The Shining, like you know, it's so disturbing.
I don't know. I thought it was super enjoyable. Like even not really understanding it, but I guess understand. Like you can understand enough on your first watch. Like I don't know. I loved it. I think I don't know.
Who would you recommend it to though? Like who would want to watch something like this other than you know?
I mean, I think anyone who likes movies, you know. But if your favorite type of movie is a fucking superhero movie, obviously this isn't for you. You know, but I think like if you're just like a general movie fan, like you're gonna like this.
Yeah, I think like America said, like you ask a person like, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" Like, "Oh, Bloodsport." Then don't recommend
no,
it.
it's not.
If they say something like, "Oh, my favorite movie is like The Shining," then okay, maybe you might like.
Yeah. Uncle Michael, please don't hurt me.
My pick this week was Halloween 6 or Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. Why did I pick this movie, you ask? I think I picked it because a few reasons, several different reasons. I think one of them, I genuinely dislike all of you. No, but in all seriousness, this was after I watched the first one as a kid. You know, my sister and I were like, we want more. And my brother told us, oh, rent the one where they're in the hospital because that one's really scary. So we went to the video rental store, and we looked at all the cases, and this one had like a nurse in the back. I was like, this has to be it. So this is the first one I watched after the first one, after the original one. And I was still scared, you know, and back then I was a little scaredy cat, but I was like, this kind of sucked, you know. And, second reason is when I was in community college, I was taking a screenwriting class, and we had this guest speaker, you know, everybody in that class loved film like us, right? And he said this thing that really stuck with me is that the movies that make you fall in love with film and all that are usually not like a great piece of art, right? Like not The Godfather, not Citizen Kane, because you don't watch those things, you know. It's usually some piece of trash. Yeah. And this to me is one of those movies. It's a fucking piece. I'm gonna delete, by the way. Yeah, this movie sucks. Like there's no way to slice it. This movie is really bad. But it has a special place in my heart, and it has also an interesting backstory. And I wanted to do a bad movie because it's fun to talk about. Gino knows this. I am obsessed with the Halloween series. Like I annoy him at work. I always talk about it. He's like, all right, Robert, I fucking get it, you know. So I wanted to bring that to this, you know. Speaking of Gino, what did you think of Halloween 6?
As soon as I started watching, I was like, all right, shut the fuck up, Robert. I know you like. No, I'm kidding. No, man, I was surprisingly when I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, we've gone far into these horror genre movies. As soon as Paul Rudd came on, there's a scene. Okay, I'm just gonna be straight. I'm gonna delete as well.
Deleted.
And there's a scene it's literally in the beginning of the movie. You just see Paul Rudd. His face just shows up. It's a close up of him. He has a dumb look on his face. I started dying laughing, and I just couldn't fucking take the movie serious from then on. But yeah, this is by far the worst Halloween movie. And I thought part 3 Halloween was bad. This is tops it. What about you, Ricardo?
Oh man, I feel like I fucking loved it. No, no, dude. Like I was actually into it. Like I was like, whoa, this is like bad good, you know? but then it starts getting really, really bad. Like, oh, actually, the beginning's already super bad.
Yeah,
But
I was
then,
gonna say.
yeah, but then Paul Rudd comes out, and oh, it's that kid. He's playing that kid, right?
Yeah, Tommy Doyle. Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, Tommy's the back. Oh, fucking, I'm into it now. You know, like this is cool. They're getting like crazy on it, but no, dude, like they completely try to change the whole story and everything. That it's fucking dumb. The ending is so funny, dude. Fucking terrible. I am deleting too. But yeah, there's so much to say, so little to say too at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you, Marco?
I'm also deleting.
Deleted.
I didn't have high hopes for this movie, especially because you kind of like told us like this is the worst one. So I just, for fun.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm so glad it was kind of short, but at the same time it was so long. And the intro, why is that the intro? Why don't they just start on like Halloween 1995? Like that's where it should start. Like you just wasted 20 minutes of my life at the beginning. The end is horrible. Why did they introduce kind of like this like cult myth thingy in there? Like it confused itself. So yeah. Gio?
So I was gonna be an out so I was watching it. Like I can tell you, I pinpoint exactly the moment where I went from an out to a delete. So I'm a delete away on this thing. Like, yeah. So I guess it's just bad. The acting is horrible. The ending is horrible. The pinpoint like moment where I went to delete was when she jumped out the window.
That's what the movie literally jumped out the window.
Like, yeah, because dude, like, she's like, okay, knife lady, cult guy, window. That's my option. She jumps out and then like body on the floor, and then cut to Paul Rudd's like, oh, I feel all groggy. He's like, yes, we were drugged, and then she wakes up on like a bed. I was just like, dude, you would have died already. She went through a whole like window, like it wasn't an open window. It was through the glass.
You could plausibly survive that.
No.
If that's your biggest gripe with this movie, I mean, I have news for you. You notice I didn't give a synopsis for this movie because what is it about? I don't know. Here, I'll try to explain it. Michael has a nephew now. He's going after his nephew because in the previous movie, he was going after his niece. And at the end of that movie, they were both kidnapped by this cult. So this movie picks up a few years later where that niece has given birth to a baby boy. And then obviously she gets killed in the beginning, and now Michael's after the baby, and he's also after the Strode family who lives in his house where he grew up.
Yeah.
That's what this movie's about.
I need to know why they introduced the cult thing though.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense. And wait, who's the guy in the black?
So, this movie was written by Daniel Farrens. He was really young. I think he was only 25 when he wrote it. But in part 5, this is part 6, right? In part 5, they introduced this character called the Man in Black. It's just a guy in black that showed up. Yeah. And they literally just introduced it while they were making the movie with no explanation. Like, we'll explain it in another movie.
What does he do? Or...
Yeah, and that when this writer got hired, he had explained all that shit. So he came up with that he was part of a cult that worshipped this thorn thing that controlled Michael. That's why you get this stupid backstory that gets tagged on to Michael Myers. And it just, when you try to add backstory to something that was so simple, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, you didn't need that. You didn't need that at all. Like, because what they did explain is he's going after the people who live in the house because to him, that's his family, right? Whoever lives there, he has to kill. So leave it at that. Like, Paul Rudd didn't have to know all of that thing about the thorn. Like, he could have just been the creepy neighbor that's always watching because he knows he's obsessed with that house because he knows about Michael Myers. He was there, So he could have come in to save the day like that. Like, you don't have to make him this guy who's like super into like the whole mythology of it.
Paul Rudd. Let's talk about Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd. Gino loves Paul Rudd. We all love Paul Rudd, right? Right. And I get why they cast him because he was obviously a big talent, right? Like, it was just a matter of time before he became a star. But he better thank his lucky stars that Clueless came out in the same year as this did.
Yep.
Because if that hadn't come out and all you had to go by was this movie, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the direction he was given. Because if you look at some scenes, like when he's like, he has a baby and he goes to the hospital, and he's like, "Get me a doctor, please." Like, what are you talking about? He's like,
Get me a doctor now!
and it's like, ooh, like you couldn't do another take there. Like let's pull it back a little. But like, like it's not that it's bad, yes, but I think it's because it's miscalibrated. It's not, he's a very comedic person.
Yeah.
And if you look at the end, like the ending, the whole third act, the part where you guys say it jumped out the window, that was all reshot, like after they finished the movie. And we'll get into that later, but there's a scene where he's trying to break the girl out of the room, and he looks at Michael and he kind of does like the smile, and you're like, that's the Paul Rudd that I know. For like a flash of a second, you get the Paul Rudd that would become a star that they did not use in this movie.
Yeah.
So, well, explain the thing.
Okay, so this movie, was famous because back in the day, this cut of it leaked out somehow, and it was the only way you could get it was like there was like a bootleg going around, like a bootleg DVD that you could get, like. And it's funny because I knew about it even before like big time internet. Like I read about it in some forum or something, and it was like very interesting. It became known as the producer's cut. It's basically the cut before they came in and reshot, because they made it and then the studio said like, we have to redo this, like this shit sucks. So and then a few years ago they came out with this box set, really cool, look at it, all the movies, and they actually released the producer's cut officially, so it's no longer bootleg. So it's like it's an official release. Yeah, even before like the Snyder cut and all that. So I was like, think about it, I had known about this for years, and I finally, like, I was so excited to watch it, and it's if you watch it, the main differences are the movie that you guys watch is like a Halloween but edited by an MTV editor. Like if you guys notice, it has like all those weird transitions, like
Yeah.
and it has all these like flashy things that you would see in a music video.
Yeah.
And they just added it because they thought people were too stupid to sit and watch this movie,
Yeah.
The producer's cut gets rid of all that, and you have to, and I give it a lot of credit because it's very it's more like part one. It's very like atmospheric. It like takes its time and it builds like with music and all that. But the big difference is the third act, and it's funny that Gio mentioned this when she jumps out the window, because that's literally where the movie splits.
Oh shit!
That's hilarious.
So yeah, basically they rescue the girl that jumped out the window, and then Michael chases them out. And here's the funny thing, because like Paul Rudd is all into that cult stuff, he knows how to stop Michael. He tells the old guy, he's like, I have these rocks, they're called runes, and with the power of the runes we could stop Michael. So he's chasing him down the hospital corridor, and he lays his rocks like in a circle.
Yep.
And Michael like walks into the circle, and he gets trapped. And that's how they defeat him. That's how the movie ends.
That's what I watched. Did I watch the producer's
Oh,
cut?
you watched the producer's
Yeah,
cut.
that's what I watched. And that was confusing to me. If that's supposed to make more sense than whatever the theatrical cut was, like I'm confused still. Because like he does pull out those rocks, and then he like cuts his hand, and he fucking hits pause on Michael Myers. He just stands there like,
No, but that's the thing. That's the thing, that it doesn't make sense. That's why they had to go back and reshoot it. And I do agree that it had to be redone. But what they did was just like the theatrical cut is more like just kills, and like he kills a whole bunch of people in the hospital, and that's it. And like it's funny that you watch the producer's cut, because like the theatrical cut has like the music, it's like all good, it's like the Halloween music but with like guitar and stuff. So it's like I like the producer's cut a lot better. Like it's a lot more tamed. Yeah,
I agree.
I do remember a lot.
They're both terrible though. They both don't work.
Like all the kills happened like in one little chunk. No.
So like everything that had happened to the girl after she gave birth happened like the night before. So he shows up to the bus depot. It's probably 9 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever. So nobody's noticed a pool of blood in one of the phone booths, the trail of blood the blood in the sink at the bathroom. Oh, and by the way, there's a crying baby in the bathroom.
Yeah.
American Record. I really wish you had watched the theatrical cut because that opening scene you're talking about, it's the same thing, but it's like turned up to 11. It has really cool music, and it has all the transitions that I was talking about.
Yeah.
And like it just doesn't make any sense. Where are they? Why is there a nurse? Why are there spikes coming out of the wall?
I mean,
Perfect
I
place for
still
Michael
have-
to
I
stab
still
the
have all
girl.
these questions.
I was like, for some reason, there's like
Yeah,
this. one
but it has
spike.
cool transitions. You guys have to see it. I'll add them into this episode. Don't worry. Yeah. So 4, 5, and 6 make up what is commonly referred to as the Thorn trilogy, because
Yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
story. It's Michael's niece that comes out in all 3, even though she dies very early on in this one. I can't get enough of them, guys. I love these movies. I love bad movies. Oh, I can't. There's no explanation.
No.
Tune in next week when we watch a new movie, which is Bill and Ted Face the Music, starring Keanu Reeves and what's this guy's name? Bill Winters?
Alex Winters.
Alex Winters. Thank you. I'm like, Bill Winters? No, that's his character's name, Bill. I'm like, hold up. And Ricardo's pick, which is
Running Scared, starring Paul Walker. You guys remember that?
Oh.
okay.
No,
I don't know how to react to that.
I know
that's a
what that is.
movie.
Yes, that's a movie.
After Halloween 6, there's nowhere to go but up.
I know. Right?
Please don't forget to follow us in Out Delete Reviews and at Twitter at In Out Delete. And also, please click on the bells. Watch us on YouTube, also In Out Delete. We're all posting videos now. We're all chit chatting here, so you can hear and listen. You can watch us and listen to us both on YouTube and on the podcast apps, wherever Spotify related. Then you can see Ricardo doing his little hula dance. Here you go. Until the next time. Good night.